Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lips, I think an unfortunate trend in this country in recent decades is we're just getting further and further away from the farm and the ranch. So we have less of an understanding, maybe more of a tenuous understanding of how food goes from the farm to the table. That's why I've always liked the farm to school program. I think it teaches children, that uses, of course, locally sourced fruits and vegetables and other foods to help students understand the local economy, the local culture. It won't surprise you that I know South Dakota is a beef and bison powerhouse, and I think South Dakota students could benefit from a deeper understanding of the value of that beef and bison. And so I think my first question is, do you agree that this farm-to-school program could better prioritize locally sourced beef and bison?
Congressman, we do think it's important. Let me comment on farm-to-school program in general. I have seen out on the ground the effect that program has on children with regard to making healthy decisions. When kids are connected to their food, they do make healthy decisions. I think it's one of the best programs that's moving kids' nutrition standards forward as we look at that. Certainly, I agree with your contention on beef in that program. We want kids to have local connection to all of their food.
Well, I'm glad we're on the same page today. I'm introducing the Farm and Ranch to School bill, which would allow for a greater portion of that budget to be used on locally sourced beef, bison, and other meats. I think that would be really good moving forward. What I want to do is shift now, though, to a conversation about SNAP and ABODs, and I'm going to lay out three things that I believe, and I want you to listen and see where maybe you might disagree with me. First off, we should be clear that it's the law of the land, my understanding since the 1996 Welfare Act, that able-bodied SNAP recipients should work. That's the law of the land. My understanding is that your proposed ABOD rule doesn't change that, but rather attempts to close a loophole to better align USDA rules with congressional intent. That's my first understanding. My second understanding is just that I know I'm not lazy. I grew up as a poor boy in South Dakota. I know my life is better because I was held accountable by parents, by teachers, by the laws and regulations and rules of a society. And I don't think that holding people accountable is punishment. I think it's a hallmark of a responsible society. That's my second understanding. My third understanding flows from the fact that it has been alleged today at this hearing that USDA is working to punish people, these able-bodied SNAP recipients, because you want able-bodied people to work. And so I would just say this. I do not think that holding people accountable is punishment. And I do not think that work is punishment. I think that work is opportunity. And I think holding people accountable through the value of work is one way that we can improve people's lives in a fundamentally critical way. Those are the three things that I understand to be true, Mr. Lips. In what ways am I in error?
Congressman, I agree with you on each of those points. I'll talk about each of them specifically. Congress put the work requirement in the law in '96, you're correct. And it says, if you look at the statute, it says work requirement. Across the top. It's not unclear about what it is when Congress put it in. This agency is trying to ensure that those individuals who are defined in statute, who Congress said should be subject to work requirement, are engaged. The law, our regulations provide that those individuals to whom this applies have an opportunity to engage in education towards a job through skills training. We are working to ensure that that happens. The states are obligated to know who these people are. I can show you in our regulations and in our memorandums how states are to bring these people in, assess their needs, their skills, their skill gaps, and help them to work on those. I visited with a young lady on one of my trips who was subject to one of these work requirements. She got a letter in the mail and said, you know what, I decided maybe I could change my life because I could get some new skills to get a job, and now she's employed. The things that you're saying are true. I believe that I have succeeded in my career to date because my parents set expectations for me, and I met them. I understand that I didn't have all the difficulties that some of the individuals that are subject to this work requirement have, and we are working to help them have the skills that they need to deal with those each and every day.
Well, Mr. Lips, I want to thank Secretary Perdue for the proposed rule. because I think work is opportunity, and I appreciate USDA's interest in moving your rules closer to congressional intent. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.